Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a brand new craft video for you, but before we get into that, I want to welcome anyone who is new to this channel. I do tons of different content such as thrift hauls, witchy hauls, crystal hauls. I also do a candle review series. I also talk about things that are on my mind, and because it is October, I've been doing tons of spooky Halloween content. As I said, this is going to be a Halloween craft video. All of the items I am using today I either got from Target, Dollar Tree, or Michael's craft store. Those are the items that we are using today. If you watched my Halloween haul video, these items will look familiar. Some of them are items I already had, however, and some of them are ones that I picked up but did not have in my haul video, which I will show you when we get to them. And if you did watch my haul video, I don't know if you guys are going to be following along or not, but today we are doing a craft with these cloches. So we do have these two types of cloches. This is the pedestal one, and then this is just the regular encased tall one. I think we are going to start with this little pedestal one first and see how it goes. And this was, I want to say $5 at Target. They had tons of different ones, but this is the one we are going to be using first. And I'm going to show you the other items we have if you want to follow. Also, I have a hot glue gun heating up next to me. We will need that. So we are obviously going to need moss. This moss is from Dollar Tree. It is just in this bag because I've been using it for stuff. And then these two I got from my friend who worked at a greenhouse, like a floral greenhouse type store. She gave me some purple moss. And then got everything else I'm using pretty much in here, which I also have these trees. These are from Michael's. They do have these in store in regular green ones too, but I wanted the fall color ones. They also have something similar in the Lemax Spooky Town collection that is sold at Michael's, which is like their Halloween Town houses and stuff. The other things we are going to be using are the purple LED string lights that are from Dollar Tree. I have a pack of glue sticks from Dollar Tree. These little moss balls come in, I think, like a 5-pack from Dollar Tree. They also have this instead of the loose moss. They have like this moss roll or moss sheets. This one's partially used, but this is from Dollar Tree. I have a bunch of foliage that I've already cut up that is from Dollar Tree. And then I've got these little wood pieces I got from Dollar Tree. And then these little skeleton guys that I'm not sure we're going to use are from Dollar Tree. It's like one holding an axe, one holding a sword. It's got a shield and an axe. Yeah, a bunch of different little skeleton guys. And then I have, these came in a little pack from Dollar Tree that came with like pine cones, but they are little seed pods that look like pumpkins, so I thought that they might come in handy. And then the other stuff that I got from Michael's is these little mushrooms. I think there's 20 in a pack, and they are $4 a pack. And then also Tim Holtz Ology series that is also sold at like Michael's and Joann's had these 3 packs of mushrooms. I figured we might use these because they're a little more spookier. Then I have the little zombie guy that was from my haul. I don't know that I'm going to use him, but I wanted to put him in here just in case. This is from my Halloween haul, and I got him from Screamer's Costumes. These little mini tombstones are from Lemax's Spooky Town collection that is at Michael's, and I think this was $6 for all of these little headstones. There's quite a few, and they are 60% off right now, so I would suggest getting them now if you can. And then this one is also from Lemax, and it is just a giant 3-piece one. So those are all of the items. So like I said, I do have the hot glue gun heating up. The only other thing you might need are scissors. Now the reason I have this is because I want to be able to hide that battery pack, but I don't want to completely glue it down because I want to be able to get to it to remove the batteries. I guess we can start by removing the dome. We won't need that until the very end. Now, I'm definitely going to make this one very spooky, but I feel like I should have gotten some of the Spanish moss from Dollar Tree because it's a little more gray, and the regular moss from this is kind of on the green side, so it's not quite the same vibe, but we will make do. So the first thing I want to do is I want to lay down my lights. And the reason I want to do that is because I want it to glow from underneath. Yeah, you can use the lights so that it glows from above, but I want this to seem like the ground is glowing, and the best way to do that is going to be to glue these lights down to the bottom and then put moss over the top. Now, I usually put the batteries in afterwards, but the reason I'm going to put the batteries in beforehand is because when I'm gluing stuff down to it, I want to be able to see where the lights are, because I don't want to completely cover the lights on this, because the stuff we have will cover it up a little too much probably. Like these little tombstones or little headstones, those will completely cover the lights up. You don't want that. So remember, you always want to have your battery pack with the screw side facing up, and this is going to take up a lot of space, but that's fine because you can put stuff on top of the moss that's going to go on top of here. Because even though I'm going to glue this down and glue moss on the sides, I am not going to glue across the top. I'm just going to glue along the edges, and the part that's going to go over the top we're going to have like basically removable. This one is going to be tricky. I think we'll do it on its side like that. You know what? Yep, that's what we're going to do. So let's get a little bit of glue. And make sure you want to stay kind of away from the edge so you can still fit the top of the cloche on. And once we've got that done, we're going to lay down all of the lights. So the way I want to do these lights is I'm going to just glue that big thick straw end down. Then I'm just going to put a couple dabs of glue randomly to secure it. Now this part's going to be a little tedious and take a little time because you want to let the glue harden a little bit before you let go of it. So just hold it still as it gets stiff. You can even blow on it a little bit to speed up the process, but I've learned that doesn't really make too much of a difference, to be honest with you. It makes like the teeniest, tiniest bit of difference. A lot of this is just patience, unfortunately. Alright, so once that seems pretty secure on there, we are going to put our next little dab of glue. Remember to stay kind of away from the edge so that you can still get the top of this on. And again, exuding patience, which is a trick in and of itself. Thankfully, since this is made of wire, it should be pretty easy to maneuver. I don't think it should be too difficult for you. And we're gonna just keep continuing this until we get our lights completely all the way around. Now that we have all of our lights glued down, which, sorry, I cut some of that out probably, just because I figured I was just doing the same thing over and over. I just glued all of these lights down, which let's do a little test. So I tried to keep them fairly spread out, and I do have a couple spots where there are none, but that is no big deal. You can get one around this back side so it'll light up from behind. But that is what our lights are looking like. Now what I want to do is make a cover for this before we do anything else. So I'm actually going to measure out my moss. Alright, this is going to be one messy project. Even though we are going to make it where you can still get to the battery pack, you do want to be careful you don't glue too much of the sides, because the edges to get to the battery pack and the switch are going to be just as important. I also need to cut down the top a little bit. Now I've got this measured out, I'm going to take off the paper backing. What I do like about this is because it has a thing on the back, none of the glue is going to seep through and burn your hand when you do this, which is always refreshing. So I'm going to take some glue and I'm going to slather as much of it as I can on the back of this battery pack. So I want this moss to stick pretty well. Then I'm going to line it up to where I want. We're just going to push it on there. So this is the part you want to be careful of, because obviously you do want to get this to look like it's on there all the way. Not quite. So if you do it just right, you can kind of manipulate it around the back of the battery pack. And you can even put like a tiny bit on the top edge, but you do want to remember to leave space where you can actually get to that switch. So it's not completely glued, but enough where we can kind of get it to curve a bit. Then I'm going to want to measure out another strip for the top, but we're not going to glue this edge, just this edge. Alright, so now we're going to glue this front part right here. Now I am only keeping the glue on this side and not this side because we don't want to glue that down. We want to be able to get to that battery pack. And it's going to end up hanging over just a little bit like that. Now what you can do is you can glue these two edges together with a bit of the scrap that you cut off to trim to fit the battery box, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a little piece and I'm basically going to make a little band-aid to hold it together like that. So it's not glued to the box but to each other, or to itself I mean. I'm going to take this little piece that I just cut and I'm going to pre-bend it a little bit. And very carefully, don't get any glue on your fingers. Put a little drop there and a little drop there. Make sure you don't get any in the creased edge you made, because then that will probably glue it shut. And then we're just going to secure this end and secure this end. That way I can still open this if I need to, but it's kind of holding it closed. And it doesn't matter if the back of this looks a little crazy, because this is going to be the back of your cloche anyways. Nobody should be seeing the back of it really. So if it looks a little crazy, that is fine. If it really does bother you, you can cut another piece of moss and just hang it across here where you can flap it up and down. Otherwise, you should be good to go. I am going to do the same little bandy trick on this side. And so there's our back. And from the front, it looks like that, which we can put a little moss on the seam if it bothers you, kind of however you want. And now I'm going to turn on these lights so that I can see where I am gluing stuff down as I go. All right. Hopefully that doesn't screw you guys up in camera too much. I need to decide, do I want to glue down the tombstones and put moss around it, or do I want to put moss down then the tombstones? I think I'm going to put the tombstones down first and then put the moss around it so that I know it's secured to the actual base. So this set came with like 5 or 6 tombstones, I believe. And let's see how I want these to look. I just want to make sure I'm not blocking any of these lights, so I'm going to kind of mess around with them, see what fits really good. Ooh, I like the way that one fits. So we're going to just move that one here, and then I kind of like that one being over there. And this is the fun part of being creative. You can kind of mess around with it, see how it looks, see what you like. I mean, there's so much you can do too. So yeah, just keep repeating that, you know, mess around with your little headstones, seeing where you like them. I mean, you could put them anywhere really. I really like this little set. I think it's really cute. They're little fun pieces. Now the other thing we're going to do before we move on is kind of look at it, see if that's how we like it, because the good thing about this type of plastic and only putting a little bit of glue, if you don't like your formation with your headstones, you should be able to easily remove them because it is just a hard plastic. So I think I like the way those look, so we're going to do the moss next. Now, the moss that I have some green and I have some purple, and I think there's even a little bit of beige in one of these. So we will see what looks best and go from there. Now you do have other foliage and stuff you can glue down first if you want. If you want to put one of these trees down first, you can. These ones I think you should be fine putting on the moss because they're little plastic lighter pieces. Just these heavier ones, you kind of want to glue them down to the plastic base in my opinion, just because I feel like it makes it look a little bit better. So let's see. We will start with the green moss. And usually what I do is try to find like the chunkier pieces when I'm using moss to glue down, because it makes it a little easier to work with if you're using the chunks instead of just a bunch of loose pieces. So even when I go and buy it from Dollar Tree, I will look for bags with like little big chunks and only use those ones. You can use the ones with like a bunch of shredded stuff. I just noticed it's a lot messier and a lot harder to work with in general if you go with the bags full of messy stuff. I'm going to actually start placing my moss down here, and I'm going to try to curve it around this little brick we made. Now be very careful obviously, because with moss, since there's lots of holes in it, it is very easy to burn yourself. That looks good and bushy. And I'm just going to go around and keep doing that, find places where I can stick my moss. And I do want to cover the lights, so that is also my goal when I'm laying this moss down, is putting it over the top of the lights. You will be able to see through the moss. If you're worried about that, I promise you'll be able to see it underneath the moss. It will definitely poke through. But basically just keep repeating this step over and over until you get it as filled as you can, just so it looks like grass, basically. And you could even use these little moss strips here and there too if you want, that came in that roll. It definitely works. I don't know how well the light will see through. Let's see. Oh yeah, you can see the light through it, so you can even use these if you prefer. It depends on how messy you want to get, I guess. I'll do a couple more of these so that you guys can see, and then I'm probably going to jump ahead till after I get the moss down so you can see from there. So again, be very careful not to burn yourself. Just keep placing your moss. And I love the way it looks under it. Just looks like a little spooky glow. Alright, so I'm just going to keep continuing to lay my moss down around these little headstones, and then I will see you guys in a second. Okay, so I've got most of my moss laid down. You can still see those lights underneath it. I did take some bigger pieces of moss and run them across the top of this so it looks more like vines. I do have a couple more bald spots, but I wanted to show you what I was going to do with those instead of covering them up off camera and then coming back and you guys being like, wait. So what I do have is I have a lot of this purple moss, and I thought it would be fun to throw a teeny tiny bit of this in there. Now again, you can get this at a lot of florist shops, so like Bordine's Nursery or something to that effect, and I'm just going to find little clumps that I like of it and just kind of break off a tiny little piece because I don't want a ton, but I do want a little bit of an accent of it. So I'm just going to drop a little piece of glue down in there, and I'm almost going to make it like a little purple bush. And since that light is right there, it's kind of going to make it glow a little bit at the base. And of course, once this is done, I will show you guys what this looks like with the lights off and everything. But I'm going to do a couple more of those. So again, just taking little chunks of this moss and basically making little bushes with it. So maybe we can do one right in here. Again, just kind of putting the ends, just the ends in the glue. So it's kind of springed up to the top. And I don't want to do too many of these. I just want a couple. I just want it to kind of look like a few little bushes here and there. We'll do one right here too. That one I got a little bit flatter because I don't want to block that headstone. And I think that's all I'm going to do for the purple. Like I said, I didn't want to do a ton. I don't want it to be, you know, the star of the show. Alright, so now we're going to add some other elements to this, because right now we've just got headstones and moss. And yes, it looks cool like that, but I feel it needs a little more depth. So I've got those little pumpkin pieces I was telling you about. We're going to add those in. I don't think I'm going to use the red and white ones. I think I'm going to use these ones instead because they look a little more interesting. I do kind of want to use one of these skeletons. Just got to find the right one. Kind of like the one with wings. I'm not entirely sure. And then I do want to add a little bit of greenery as well. I am going to pick out a tree that we're going to put up on this little box like a hill. We want to use a rust color one or an orange one. These are the trees. I think I'm going to put it up at the top here. But before we do that, let me make sure that's not too tall. Oh yeah, I don't think that'll be too tall. That should be fine. So I'm gonna glue this tree down, but I'm gonna kind of do it where it's closer to the edge. We're gonna hide a little bit of moss of it because I do want it to be plenty away from the dome lid. I love these little trees though, they're so fun. I am going to cover that with a little bit of moss at some point, but for now that is fine how it is. And then also going to add this little fake tree that I have here. It's a little tiny one. We'll put it right here. Now this one you're going to have to hold for a minute so you can make sure it stays upright. Don't want it falling over because it doesn't have a base like the other ones do, unfortunately. Now it kind of looks like it's hanging over that a little bit, and I kind of like it over that little tombstone. Then I'm going to take one of these little pumpkins and I'm going to glue it at the base of the tree. There we go. We got a little pumpkin in there. Now, as far as the skeletons go, we've got this guy who's got some wings and an axe. I think he might be the one I like the most. So, like, the ones with swords are fun and all, but those look like they're just going to battle, and I don't want it to necessarily look like they're going to battle. I want it to look more like he's a protector, if that makes sense. I wish he didn't have this little base on him and I could just glue his feet down. That I am kind of bummed about. So, you know what? I'm going to try to cut his feet out, actually, because I feel like this is taking away from his skeletonness, and I just don't like this little army guy footpath type thing. We're gonna free his feet. This is pretty soft plastic, so this is not hard to do at all, but do be careful, obviously, chopping stuff up with scissors. See, I like that better. I feel like it'll be a lot easier to hide. I think I'm gonna put him, should I put him up by the tree? Should I put him in the middle somewhere? Ooh, I kind of like him right there, actually. So I'm gonna put a little glue on the bottom of each of his feet. We're gonna glue him down right here. He's basically got a light between his feet. Hold him there for a second. Now, if you did want it to look a little less plastic and a more, I would say, what's the word, dingy, you could probably dry brush some gray or white over the top of him, which who knows, maybe one day I will redo it and and do that to him to make him look a little more realistic. But for now, I mean, I feel like that's perfectly fine. And we got a couple more pumpkins. I think before we add too much, we should try to hide our big maple tree we've got up here. The base of it's bothering me. So I am actually going to add some moss in around here. Basically, I just want to hide the base of this tree so it doesn't look so plasticky. So I'm just going to put some glue on the base, and then I'm going to take this and I'm basically going to just wrap it around the front of the tree so it just looks like it's growing around it. Same thing with this piece. There. Now the plastic base of that tree isn't so obvious. It looks a lot better to me. We are almost completely done. I do want to use this littler mushroom, so I'm going to put a little glue on the base of that. We will stick him right in here. You know what, I might use a slightly bigger one too. Where, I have no idea. Maybe right behind it? Yeah, we'll stick this one right behind the other one. I like that. And then I'm going to put the rest of these pumpkins on here, and then we are pretty much done after that. So we're going to complete our little pumpkin patch, and then I will say we are going to call it after that, and then I will give you guys a clearer, more close-up view of this with my cell phone, because it takes better video than my camera does, of course. And you guys will get a better detailed look at this. Should I put one of these pumpkins up on the hill? I guess I should, huh? Alright, now this would be a good time to kind of go through and look at everything, see if there's any glue you need to hide. I'm sure there will be. As long as we've got the majority of it, I would say we should be good. Make sure this lid will go on. You might have to very gently wiggle it over top. I am very pleased with how this came out. I'm just going to push some of this moss in the edge. Aha! Alright, so our cloche is done, and I know you guys aren't going to be able to see that as well as you should be able to because of the glare from my ring light, but I'm very happy with how it came out. So right now I'm going to insert the video of the closer up. So as you guys can see, I have a lot of really cool pumpkins in there and a nice little maple tree. And our little skeleton that's basically our little graveyard watchman. And I really love the little mushrooms. I think they're super, super cute. I couldn't be happier with how this turned out. It definitely has all the spooky vibes I could have hoped for. So let me know what you guys thought about this craft video. Again, I think it was a fun thing to do. It's definitely a really beautiful display piece that I will keep for many, many Halloweens to come, and I'm thrilled with how it came out. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know what you thought. If you end up following this along at all, please let me know. Tag me on Instagram. My Instagram information is all down below as well if you would like to follow me there. I will have a better photo of this on there, of course. And yeah, if you guys made this too, tag me in your Instagram so I can see what you guys came up with. It was a fun little craft to do, and I'm very happy with it. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!